Welcome to the Redevelopment Commission meeting for the City of Bloomington for August 3rd, 2026. We will start the meeting with a roll call, please.
Sue Scambaluri here.
John West here.
Randy Cassidy. Randy Cassidy present.
Lori McRobbie present.
And Deborah Meyerson here. Can we have staff present, please?
Anna Killian Hansen, Director, here.
Christina Finley, Hand Department.
Dana Kerr.
Jeff McKim, City Controller.
Cami Caswell, Hand Department.
Jane Cooper-Smith, Economic and Sustainable Development.
Thank you. So the first item on our agenda this evening is presentations for College Square from respondents who originally submitted their proposals on July 20th. We've invited each of them to do 20 minutes in presentations so that we can have public viewing of the presentations. And then after each presentation, we'll have approximately 15 minutes of Q&A from commissioners with each respondent. So the first respondent on our agenda is Concord, TWG, Ratio, and Shield Sexton.
Good evening, members of the Redevelopment Commission. My name is Adam Cheese. I'm with Ratio Design, and I'm representing the Concord Development Team tonight. Our presentation's on the screen. And with us tonight is Dustin Eggink from Ratio Design, as well as several people I think will be, there's Carl from Concord Development Company, and we will be joined as well by Chase Smith from TWG Development. Welcome to Bloomington. That's the name of our presentation. Now, why do I use this phrase? So I'm the father of 4 kids, and every time we come down I-69, we come home to Bloomington, because I live here in this community. My 4 kids, every single time, they count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and when we cross by that sign that's right at the College Avenue, they yell out, "Welcome to Bloomington," as loud as they can. They've done it since they were little children. And to me, this presentation is about figuring out how Bloomington welcomes people and welcomes people to Bloomington. I think we have an excellent brand. It's an incredible story around this community. I love this logo that Visit Bloomington uses. I think Bloomington's a lot of different words. I think it's magical. This is at the who has tuba Santas, right? Who has lights at Christmas time that are straight out of a Norman Rockwell book? It's whimsical, it's fun, it's unique, it's artistic, it's colorful. Those are 4 words I chose. Frankly, they don't really matter because in Bloomington, people choose a lot more words, right? This is a beautiful picture. I think I credited it appropriately. It was in the B Square as a recent article. Bloomington has lots of opinions, right? It's a very opinionated place because people are passionate about it. That's okay. We chose 4 words that we think represent our proposal, but there's lots of opinions. This whole topic has had a lot of opinions. I don't know how many articles from Dave Haskins I've read in the last couple of years about this topic, lots of opinions. I used to be a CIB board member for 2.5 years. I'm very well of the convention, very aware of the convention center. And we pieced together this team for a very specific proposal for this project. We actually submitted this proposal to the CIB as well. So you're going to see a proposal that intends for the 2 bodies to work together. That's the intention of our proposal. What words matter to us? What matters to us is the word arrival. What does it mean to arrive in Bloomington? What's that first sense of experience? Our proposal proposes a new hotel on College Avenue where you have a direct arrival experience, where you meet and greet Bloomington at kind of its best. A street-level drop-off, a beautiful arched courtyard, a rooftop plaza, where you can have a wonderful experience, an arrival. It means engagement. When you step inside this hotel experience, you would be met with a unique and a different opportunity to engage with Bloomington. In fact, if you take a second, imagine that when you arrive inside this hotel, you'd be engaged with the idea that you could go to a street front artist space. In fact, we intend to have this space right at the corner of 4th and College Avenue, where you could actually yourself As a guest in the hotel, maybe go throw a clay pot. Maybe you could paint a painting. Maybe you could actually walk away with a piece of art from Bloomington, not just see some other piece of art from Bloomington. You might even make a relationship with an artist, and we see that as a part of our proposal, a direct engagement. We think our proposal's about linkage. We think the Beeline Trail is an important part of this community and certainly is a compelling pedestrian bicycle corridor. We think that our whole entire proposal not only addresses linkages on the Beeline, but addresses linkages straight to downtown. Our proposal has a rooftop bar with views that directly look at the courthouse square. So imagine those magical winter nights when it's all lit up, or imagine the summer days when there's festivals and activities, and you can connect to this icon of the Bloomington community. We've also proposed a very special pedestrian connection on the to the Beeline at the intersection of 3rd Street and College, where we think people actually will be as they come and go from the new convention center. On the backside of our development, we'd see a continued enhancement of the Beeline. We're not first. This community has already done this along the Beeline. It would just be another enhancement to that corridor. And we think these are compelling linkages. What's our proposal? We're just going to be very transparent, open, and put it out there for you all to consider. I spent 2.5 years on the Capital Improvement Board. I think, as a community, should be proud that the convention center's moving. It took a long time. I was on one of the first committees back in 2017, 18, and 19. So we should be proud. It's going to be a beautiful building when it's done. One of my concerns is that it had about 450 parking spaces when it was a 30,000 square foot building. It's going to be a 90,000 square foot building. I would really, really encourage that we need to preserve those parking spaces. It's really critical for the future of the convention center. South of the parking lots are what people call the Seminary Square development. We think that that is an ideal site for a mixed income apartment complex development that would include an exact replacement of the low income housing that's been lost. So thank you, I appreciate the comment. Well, that's too bad. We think that there are 27 units that would be low to moderate income units that would be included in this development, and it would be right along the Beeline Trail. Have a good rest of your day. We think this site would be a catalyst for 2nd Street and really be a pivot point to Hopewell and also re-engaging kind of the south part of downtown. These are examples of projects our team has done. These are both TWG projects and Ratio design projects. In specific, Ratio would bring a team of our design group that comes out of our Denver office that has had some very specific mixed income apartment and mixed retail and housing development. 2 of our recently completed projects are at the top of the screen. In exchange, we would want the CIB to accept our offer for $4 million for that property, and in essence, urge you as the Redevelopment Commission to accept that as the purchase price for the College Square property. So it's in essence the land swap deal that everybody's been talking about, but at a $4 million valuation. TWG would request a developer-backed bond based on the development at that site to support those 27 units. On the College Square, Concord Hospitality would develop a 160-room full-service hotel on the eastern half of the site. We won't be bashful. We think this requires subsidy. We think it requires free land, and we're estimating a $12 million gap. How to close that, we would work with the Redevelopment Commission and the staff on how to do that. But we think the Bloomington hotel market is soft for this product, and we think there's a required subsidy to deliver this kind of product at this kind of price point in this kind of location. That ultimately is our main proposal. This is the overall summary. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dustin Negnick, who will kind of paint the overall urban design proposal.
Thank you, Adam. Again, my name is Dustin Negnick with Ratio Design. Just to quickly go over the scheme here. And just to reiterate, this is something that, it is not designed. We really look forward to working with the community to come up with this. But a few things to stress here, though, is that this is a party that is dense or has a density to it that is visitor-facing and community-facing. So the element on the College Avenue side is where we are proposing the hotel component that has a very distinct and direct and easy linkage to the convention center, but also has the views afforded back and the connection to the downtown proper. So it becomes this really nice connection point. On the opposite side, we have proposed a phase two. That could be an expansion of the hotel, or it could be additional housing as it faces the B line. And I think those are really kind of two distinct points, is that there's a visitor-facing side and a community-facing side. And this really goes to the notion of finding the right mix and something that really fits in with the community right here. Towards the middle, parking that really makes both developments serviceable and an easy mix for the proposed development. I think at this point in time, we'll want to just turn it over to questions. We have Concord and TWG on the line right now.
Yeah, and I see Carl from Concord, but I don't see TWG unless someone else is trying to enter the meeting. But Carl Wren, Executive Vice President from Concord, is on our call. Happy to answer any questions about our proposal.
Adam, Chase Smith is here as well. Hello, everybody.
Oh, okay. Chase Smith from TWG is on the line as well.
Great. Thank you for your presentation. We have several questions that the RDC worked together collaboratively to develop. I will be presenting them on behalf of the RDC. Our first question is, beyond the purchase price, please explain the form and amount of full public subsidy you're proposing for this project and how you arrived at that request.
Carl, do you want to take this first?
Well, the 12 million in subsidy that would be required is what the pro forma shows to make the project work. So we would be open to work with any and all different departments, entities to come up with the $12 million. That's what's needed to close the financing gap, or to close the gap to have the project pencil. So we would be open to any and all, whether it would be tax, whether it would be TIF, whether it would be, any forms of incentives that we could come up with as a team would be required to make the project work. That's how our numbers work out, based on the occupancy and the rates, and adding 160 room almost luxury boutique style hotel.
Thank you. Our next question is, if your proposal relies on CIB cooperation, have you had communication with them and secured their cooperation? What other third parties will be required for your proposal to be achieved?
We submitted to the CIB. They did not hear our proposal when they went through their process. What other parties? I don't know of any other than the normal planning, zoning, city department approval processes that would be involved.
Thank you. Our next question is, does your project require additional land or use of existing facilities that are outside of College Square?
Yes, the proposal requires the CIB and the Redevelopment Commission to come to some sort of agreement to make that work.
Could you be more specific about what land or facilities that you're anticipating would be part of your project?
It was the land that was shown in the diagrams. I think the diagrams were as specific as we could get. They're outlined the specific areas that we referred to.
Can you explain the estimated time frame in which it will take to complete your project?
As long as the negotiation takes, and then it's always approximately about a 2-year process.
So in your choice to include housing as part of your project, tell us more about the housing you've chosen to include and why.
We think that there's demand on that site. We think that there's a reason to continue to provide very affordable units on that site and do it in a very high-quality way.
The RDC is required to consider the public benefit of your proposal. Tell us about how your proposal is providing the best benefit to the public and the highest and best use of the College Square site, as well as any other related property.
I think on the College Square site, it's been long discussed as a very key location as you transition from the core of downtown Bloomington, particularly around the Courthouse Square, to this new convention center, a $70 million investment that everyone who's gone out to dinner has paid for. Those are the people who have bought the convention center, everyone who's gone out to dinner. And that investment has not been insignificant. And this site is basically the gap in the smile of that downtown, and filling that gap, I think, with a really strong sense of arrival and a really strong sense of a compelling hotel product really helps to bridge those visitors that will be at the convention center, getting them to come up into the Courthouse Square, which I think is really the kind of crown jewel of the downtown.
One last question, which is, tell us more about the risk that your team is expecting to assume versus the risk that you're expecting the RDC and public entities to assume. In other words, if the product revenue does not deliver as intended, who bears the shortfall?
I think that would be all forward-facing in future discussions. I think we put together a pretty complex proposal. We're not naive. I mean, we read the papers. We go to the meetings. I used to be a CIB board member. I'm not naive. This is very messy, complicated, lots of meetings, lots of articles. We put forward an idea that we thought worked for the community. We don't think in any way it just magically snaps its fingers and comes together. So we think it's going to take some time to negotiate. But we think we have a very compelling idea.
Okay, thank you very much for your time and your responses this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For our second presenter this evening, we have the other respondent, which is Dora and Partners. I'd like to invite you up.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for inviting us here. My name is Vince Dora from Dora Hospitality. With me, I've got David Roush, our architectural firm, and Chris Cioli from Weddle Brothers. On the call is Russ Lauterbach, my development partner from Lauterbach Development. And I believe Travis is on the call. There he is. And he is going to be joining us as a partner with the multifamily housing development. So for our proposal today, we kept it brief and light so that we could all absorb it in the short amount of time we have today. So from a high level, our proposal includes 80 to 100 units of residential housing that'll be market rate, a restaurant within the hotel or a apartment building of 135 keys, commercial and retail space to be leased out of approximately 20,000 square feet, and structured parking of 200 stalls to help park all of this development. Next slide shows a bird's eye view of the overall site plan. And architecturally, you can see that the multifamily is on the north side of the site, and the hotel and restaurant is on the south along 3rd Street, closest to the new convention center and the existing. We felt that was important so that there would be a smaller walkway from the hotel front door down to the convention center. As you guys know, we won the CIB RFP for the host hotel. This hotel and development would be working in tandem if we were to be selected, so that there would be sister properties helping to with overflow and other needs for the market. You can also see that in the middle, we've designed a promenade that we'll get into more details about in a second. But this is going to be walking space between College and the Beeline Trail to help activate both sides. You'll be able to see through. We'll have some drivability and some walkability and retail space along that promenade on both sides to help activate the two sites and help them feel connected as one, so that it's not just two separate buildings. I'll invite David up here in a second to kind of go into more detail about architectural, but we felt it important to have the restaurant on the west side of the site there along the Beeline and College. There's a grade change that kind of lends to having a space over there that would play into activating that space along the walking trail, help attract folks that are biking or walking, and then also utilizing from the hotel standpoint as well for our guests there. We will have a kind of elevated bar on the corner of College and 3rd facing towards the convention center, so that our guests and any convention goers or other users will be able to enjoy having a drink. This will be an elevated cocktail lounge, primarily for the hotel users, but also for the surrounding areas as well. The red square you can see on the 4th and College corner is going to be retail. That is going to be TBD. That's going to be leasable space. The main entrance is going to be on the north side into a underground parking deck that you will see here in a minute. The amenity space on the left is going to be to service the multifamily housing, whether it be fitness center, leasing office, gathering spaces, that kind of stuff. Let's see here. I'm going to invite David up here to talk about the inspiration for the overall architectural. He's better at it than I am.
Thanks, Vince. Dave Roush, Luminat Architects. To build on Vince's earlier comment, the site approach here was to try to recognize the importance of College Avenue and programmatically put not only the hotel but also a housing component and give a nod to Courthouse Square and extend the facade, the sort of the street line presence that works its way down College. So clearly a very specific move to bridge residential work along 4th Street and then the hotel down along 3rd. The promenade in the center is a way to create a hole in a pedestrian scale hole in the site, which allows for a variety of local storefronts, vendors, an interactive pedestrian, an outdoor room, if you will, and make that connectivity sort of across the site down to the Beeline Trail and the bridge. And that's where we placed a very, what we think is a keystone of the signature restaurant that would hold that corner. Relative to the inspiration, again, this building and development would like to own, it does own a very obviously important part in the fabric of the city, and in our approach, we would look to distinguish the building so it fits by scale, by rhythm, by architecture, all the way across. And so by virtue of not giving one specific facade complete ownership of College, which will be its most public presentation, we have set the hotel entry at one side, the retail with residential above to the northeast corner, and then an inviting pedestrian way to the center, again, partially to promote additional storefront activation and places to gather and so forth. Architecturally, taking clues from the municipality from the area, recognizing all the sort of salient traits of Bloomington and trying to interpret them, obviously in a modern and current and forward-looking way. You want me to keep going? Okay. So a couple of just, again, very conceptual early images here. This would be looking from the convention center toward the north and west. Thank you. And give you kind of an idea. The hotel holding the corner. You can see the Beeline Bridge along to the distant there along 3rd Street. Thinking intentionally about things like, in this case, is there a possibility of allowing the retaining wall that starts to dive down underneath the bridge to be a place for public art. You'll also see a glimpse of that inside the development. But to really try to bring sort of local life to the project itself. In this particular case, what you'll see here on the left is the hotel. To the right, the retail and the multifamily component, and the invitation to an urban space in between. One of the real distinctive nods we have enjoyed exploring is the idea of taking the industrial sawtooth that's very prevalent right here and reinterpreting that as that geometry, turning it on itself, if you will, facing it to the south and allowing that to be a very vivid opportunity to hold solar panels in this particular case. So rather than bring natural light from the north, we're bringing real light to the south and using that environmentally to help bring forward a sustainable building. A sketch from the west then, looking back up 3rd Street, you can get the idea of a couple of things here. Again, the notion of a walkway, promoting a walkway from the Beeline along 3rd Street, and then also allowing that to sort of be parted at the signature restaurant that would be on the corner. To the left then, in this view, is the multifamily residential component with the urban space, if you will, sort of finding its way across to the east, back out, and allowing you to, again, bisect the site and get back to college. And I think that's, we got diagrammatically, just again, a quick, very conceptual blocking, stacking plan of having sort of these inverted L's of the hotel on the southeast, the residential on the north, working down to the public space. The oval in the center could be a kiosk, a nice place to promote local events, whether it's an entertainment place or a place for short-term rentals, again, an activation. And then, as Vince mentioned, lower level, using the grade change to our advantage to park more or less at or near grade on 3rd Street, which is about a story below the main part of the rest of the site. So,
go back to show some more visuals. The one thing that I wanted to call out for you guys in our proposal was, as you guys are aware, when we first worked with the CIB back in 2024, we had selected this site to be the host hotel and ran into some problems. So we know a little bit about the hurdles in front of us as far as the public incentive ask. And so we were very thoughtful and considerate in our proposal that we're aware that the RDC board is able to approve we believe a project-based TIF of up to $5 million. So that is included in the proposal itself. Much like our esteemed competition, we also first tried a larger ask, and we were unsuccessful in getting that bridged with the different bodies of the city government. And so part of the reason why we are offering a $1 million purchase with revenues from the success of the hotel over the next several years is to help offset that. We're not going to come and ask for money up front. We're instead going to help pay for it over time. And that is our way of trying to solve this problem, that there is a shortfall to build this kind of development that the city needs and wants. But we know that the support isn't there across the board. So this is our attempt to try to bridge that gap. Before I turn it over to questions, I just wanted to give a chance to Russ online and Travis next to speak to anything that we might have missed. Russ? You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, thank you. I usually do most of the talking, so I was sort of feeling left out, so I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk there, Vince. But thank you. I developed several projects there in Bloomington, the Hilton Garden Inn to begin with, the Hyatt Place, and also the Spring Hill Suite. So we're very excited about looking at this one more time. I do think that this has a lot of synergies with the host hotel, because we can treat these as sister hotels, if you will, and we'll be able to join the two together for conventions, for meeting space, and for several things. So there's a lot of synergies that goes along with having both hotels and both properties at once. So also, we very excited to have Travis, and Travis has a few minutes there. So number one, I apologize that I couldn't be there tonight. I just had a previous engagement in another state that I just couldn't get out of. So thank you very much for entertaining us one more time and considering us one more time. And I would like Travis to make a slight introduction for himself.
Thanks, Russ. Travis Vinsel here. Also apologize that I can't be there tonight. I have a plan commission meeting in another town tonight, starting in about 30 minutes. So my apologies. I think from the residential side, we think there's a real opportunity here for some market rate housing. We're considering both rental and condos. Our preference would be to do a for sale product here. There's some challenges with that, both from the market standpoint and from construction standpoint, but we think we can overcome those. But we are proposing 80 to 100 units, 1-2 bedrooms size units that we think would really enhance the project in the downtown and bring something that we don't have a whole lot of in downtown. With that, I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you.
I would also like to congratulate the architect, did a fabulous job in being awarded the host hotel, and also I think his design here is fantastic. So goes a long way toward our proposal.
Go ahead.
Thank you to your team for your presentation. We do have the same questions for both respondents, and so our first question for the Dora team this evening is, beyond the purchase price, explain the form and amount of the full public subsidy you're proposing and how you arrived at that request.
Yeah, so we arrived at that request based on our knowledge of the RDC governing body and able to produce a project-based TIF without going to City Council for approval. So we feel it's important to ask for that, and we intend to apply that towards our parking, which is going to be usable by both apartments and hotel guests. It's going to be a big need for this site to park on site. It's going to be important for apartment or renters or condo owners, as well as hotel guests, to have ability to park on site. So we feel that's going to be a good use of those funds. Other than that, there's no public ask. It's going to be borne by the developers and partners along with bank financing.
Our next question, does your proposal require CIB cooperation? And do you need any cooperation based on this project? Are there any other third parties that are required for your proposal?
No, there's no other participation required. We have been in communication with the CIB team. They're aware of this proposal. And because the host hotel site stays the same with the minimum requirements on the south site, the proposal that we presented to you guys is a standalone project. We do have John's blessing and encouragement that he hopes we succeed, so that we can bring even more rooms to the market and work in tandem as two sister properties. The kind of getting into the forward thinking here, but the goal would be to have the host hotel as one major brand, Hilton, Marriott, IHG, et cetera, and then this hotel would be another brand, so that we would have two separate reservation systems and loyalty programs working in concert together to push occupancy and ADRs for the entire market. I will also, excuse me, tease a slight little bit and a nod to Travis. He had a great idea for us. It's not for this proposal, but we are working with him on the south side as well because there's extra land available. And so we are going to be forward-thinking, talking about affordable housing down on the south side to replace the units that are being lost for the demolition coming up.
Thank you. So does your project require additional land or use of existing facilities, given that you've said this is a standalone project? But does it require existing facilities or additional land outside of College Square?
No.
What is your estimated time frame to complete the project?
If we were awarded the project, it would be probably 9 months of design and pre-development for the architect and engineers to get in there and start drawing plans. We would bring in our construction partner to help with a price, GMP, and we've already been talking with banks about permanent financing and construction loans. We have our equity in place as far as investment partners. So it'd probably be next spring when we can break ground and start construction. After that, it would be 18 to 20 months roughly before opening.
It's a
Thank
total
you.
around 27 months.
Okay, total 27. And then in your choice to include housing in the proposal, tell us more about how you chose the type of housing to include and why.
Well, I'm going to turn this over to Travis, but just from a high level, we feel like the College Square site lends itself to a higher use to go along with the hotel and restaurant that we're going to be developing. It's on a tighter site than the south site for the CIB. And with this being an upscale boutique property bordering on upper upscale and luxury, we felt that market rate housing or condos would play well into that, as well as the promenade going in the middle to help support the local businesses that we hope to lease that space out to. But Travis, you go ahead and jump in.
Sure. Number one, if we're able to do condos for sale product, we simply can't do that and meet the requirements of affordability on this site. With structured parking, 4 or 5 story design, we're just not going to be able to meet the affordability definition of a for sale product. From a market standpoint, if we're leasing these units, we're going to be designing them to that scale. And so we believe that they would be leasing at also market rate, which is slightly above the affordable rate. So that's how we derived at that. We think there's a real need for that in Bloomington's downtown. We don't have a whole lot of market rate apartments that aren't associated with student properties. We clearly don't want student here. The RDC has been clear that they don't want student here. We don't think students appropriate here. So that's how we arrived to the product mix. And that's why we're still somewhere between 80 and 100 units, because we'll still vet that out as we continue to work on our design. We're talking about including the amenities to be shared. So there could be a fitness center or pool area that could be shared between the whole entire development. And we think that's just critical to making this work at market rate.
So the RDC is required to consider the public benefit of a proposal. Tell us how your proposal is providing the best public benefit and the highest and best use for the College Square or any other related property involved.
Sure. So I think we all know that with the new $70 to $75 million convention center coming up, the hotel room needs are going to be great to help support that facility once it gets fully stabilized and up and running. And the host hotel being 200 rooms is going to be great for helping to solve that, but there's going to be more needs for hotels and rooms. So having this College Square proposal incorporate even higher, better use facility, it'll help drive demand for that upper upscale guest looking for an upscale stay, as well as offering more apartments downtown, helping to attract young professionals and other folks that want to stay in the downtown environment. We hope to attract leasable local people to lease the space that we have available to increase the walkability and traffic along the Beeline and College to further increase the amenity space in that area. Additionally, I mean, the obvious answer is that without asking for any kind of tax abatement, this property is going to be contributing to property taxes to help support the city, whereas right now, there's zero revenue being generated.
I think how we both benefit the community is, since we've been given the host hotel on the south side, that we're able to marry these two together and design into this one what the other one might lack, or vice versa. And I think having the two projects together, there's a lot of synergy there.
Our last question is talking about the risk that your team is expecting to assume on the project versus the risk that you'd expect the RDC to assume. So if there were shortfall, who's bearing it?
Yeah, there is no risk to the city of Bloomington, the RDC, or anyone else. The risk is fully on us as developers. We are going to be signing personal guarantees for our construction loan and permanent loan after it's open, and we will continue to bear those risks. So we are fully invested. That's how I do all my hotel deals throughout the state of Indiana. If I'm going to put my money into it, I believe in it. So this project being the same, we assume the risk with our bank. Now, I did want to make one clarification that Chris reminded me of. I think I misspoke earlier. We are asking the RDC for that $5 million project-based TIF, and I think I said that the city council doesn't have to be involved, and I think that's not right. I think they are involved. So just clarification on that point.
Well, thank you for your time this evening with your presentation and your answers to our questions.
Thank you.
So thank you all this evening. This concludes the presentation part, and we'll return to our regular business meeting for the RDC. Yeah, we'd like to just take a 5-minute break just to segue into our business meeting. Can we request that?
You would like to call a short recess? All right, 5-minute recess. We'll reconvene at 5:48.
So, yeah,
hard to do like that. That's why I went and got this. I'm like, you know, I'll never be able to write, you know, with that, like that.
It just means we'll have to separate out the parts of the city. Well, maybe not all.
Yeah. Okay. Here comes fun, right? They sure do. Unless you need something. And then I'll watch.
We'll have to have the meetings, but we'll want to make meetings. We can still probably try to. We have to make this bracket up like there. There's no public notice. That's just the answer.
So it's literally finance provided by the banks. And then how we work into our real estate. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, and that's just the stuff that we always do. President, even this executive order, you know, for big branches and everything, government shutdown. They're just a matter of environmental use, you know, like it's just, you have to overcome so many things to get some of these problems. No, it's not like that. But, you know, like the law is agreements, you have one license agreement and everything, but it's just because my sister's father, literally, they have the hammer raised, and they're waiting for the agreement, but I can't give it up. So this is just happening as ready as possible. Whatever the dollars go ahead and say. Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I was like, I'll do everything I can on my end to tee it up. So, yeah, they're at the mall until they can start the renovations at the new place. Yeah.
And now that is the problem.
And they can mention something. They do. I would, you know, I didn't know that they did all the mentions. They're great. Right, but we appreciate the fact that you just. Yep, absolutely. Appreciate it. Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to ask if all commissioners could return to the meeting area, please.
Randy.
For a drink.
I got the update. I got it.
Okay, we're going to conclude our recess for the redevelopment commission meeting for the city of Bloomington for August 3rd, 2026. And we will resume our agenda with a review of the minutes. Any comments or questions from commissioners on the minutes? We have minutes from an executive session summary from July 20th, 2026, and minutes for July 20th, 2026. I will invite a motion for both collectively. If you wish to separate it, please indicate.
I'll move approval of the minutes for both sessions.
Second.
We've got a first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Sue
Lori
Scambolery.
McRobbie, yes.
Sue Scambolery, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the payroll register from July 24th, 2026. Any questions or comments from commissioners? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Move approval of the payroll register for July 24th.
Second.
We've got a first and a second. We'll take a vote by roll call, please.
Sue Scambolery, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next on our agenda is reports. Do we have a director's report this evening?
No report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. A legal report?
Nothing specific, so I'm also here for questions this evening.
Thank you. Under treasurer's report, do we have a TIF status report?
Jeff McKim. I don't have it, as you mentioned, the TIF status report is back in your packet. The only thing I just want to call attention to is that there are 2 new fund balances that are being listed, thanks to Christina's brilliant suggestion. We're including the remaining bond proceeds funds there as well. And I think, as you know, the 4th Street Bond Proceeds Fund that has about $446,000 is going to become more important as we conduct analysis and necessary repairs to the water issues related to the 4th Street Garage. I would anticipate that in the near future you'll have a more detailed report on the findings for 4th Street Garage, but I don't want to steal Jess's thunder. But happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the business development update. Do we have a report? Not
Director
seeing-
Cooper Smith is not with us this evening, so there
Okay.
is no business development update.
That's fine. We will hear from her next time. So the first item of new business on our agenda is Resolution 2618, designating and declaring a certain area as an economic development area, the Hopewell South EDA, and improving an economic development plan for the said area, establishing a residential housing program in said area. And who would like to speak to that?
Thank you. Dana Kerr with Legal, and I have Justin Chang with 3D Financial with me this evening to discuss this. This is very, very similar to the Summit EDA that we created, and with the Shasta Meadows residential allocation area. This will just be one allocation area for the entire Hopewell South development, since it's just one neighborhood. And the purpose of this is so that we can create the residential TIF. The Hopewell South is going to require quite a bit of, as you know, subsidy to get it going in infrastructure, roads, utilities, design that's already been underway. So there's going to be a lot that goes into that. By creating the residential TIF, it'll allow the RDC to be able to recoup, so to speak, some of those costs that they're putting in for the infrastructure, plus also with generating revenue from that. That revenue can be used in other projects around that EDA, Hopewell South, that would help enhance the Hopewell South development. So the process that this goes through is exactly the same as before. It comes to you tonight as a declaratory resolution. Then it will go to the Plan Commission for a resolution, and then on to the Common Council. And then it'll come back for a public hearing to the Redevelopment Commission and a confirmatory resolution, at which time it would establish the economic development area. The EDA is an economic development area. And then there is a remonstrance period shortly after that. But Justin is here to add anything he would like to that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dan. I think you pretty much touched on everything. This is very similar to that, if not exactly the same as the Summit TIF. Really the only change, and not really even a change because we made an amendment to the declaratory for Summit, is that previously residential TIFs get a 20-year life, but since July 1st, they now get a 25. So this will follow a commercial TIF lifespan. So other than that, it's pretty much the same as Shasta Meadows, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Correct, and the 25 years begins on the first payment of an obligation on that TIF. So it doesn't start as soon as it's created, it starts as soon as there's an obligation that is supported, the payment is supported by the TIF.
Thank you for that presentation. We have any questions or comments from commissioners on Resolution 2618?
This is a staff question. I don't know who would want to answer it. And this is also a bit of a crystal ball question, but would you anticipate this type of TIF being required for all or most of the neighborhoods that are going to be built in Hopewell?
It likely would, because each of these neighborhoods are going to likely require some sort of additional subsidy or work to allow them to succeed. So there is a good chance that they could. It does depend, though, if the private market is allowed, is used to develop certain blocks, then they may not need to be. But if certain blocks are, there needs to be some sort of further infrastructure that the market can't provide to allow development, then there may well be a need to add another TIF for that particular block. It's just too early to know. Likelihood, probably, but it's unlikely to know at this point in time.
Follow-up question. Just one follow-up question. So that said, and with the process that you outlined, how long will it take if you were going to do, virtually every neighborhood? How long, what kind of lead time do you need to actually get a TIF approved? Because you're making those decisions as you're trying to develop the property, and you can't say, well, maybe we need a TIF and then run off and get it.
Yes, it starts tonight with a declaratory resolution, and I believe in September would be the confirmatory resolution. So it takes a couple months to go through the process.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Sorry. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Otherwise, we will open it for public comment on Resolution 2618. Not seeing anybody online or in person, I will open it for a motion for this resolution. This is for Resolution 2618.
Move approval of Resolution 2618.
Second.
We have a first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRae, yes.
Sue Scamballeri, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously for Resolution 2618. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 2648. 2623, excuse me. I jumped ahead. 2623, which is the approval of an agreement for parking space at the Trades District Garage with Alwyn IU Trades District Hotel LLC. Who would like to speak to that?
I'd be happy to take that. Commissioners, Resolution 2623 is the final administrative step needed to implement the parking provisions that were included in the previously approved sale of the hotel parcel in the Trades District. Rather than creating reserved or exclusive parking, this agreement allows the hotel to purchase up to 170 monthly parking permits at the same market rates established by city ordinance. Parking will continue to be administered through parking services, and the hotel is responsible for its own operational and integration costs. Approval of this resolution simply effectuates the parking commitment already contemplated in the real estate agreement and authorizes staff to execute and administer.
So any questions or comments from commissioners on resolution 2623?
How many parking spaces are in the garage?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I can certainly help, but there were a significant number. I want to say it was somewhere between 400 and 600, but don't quote me on that. I can get it and report back.
And these particular spaces that we're dealing with are market rate, first come, first serve, and it'll be up to the hotel for them to police accordingly.
Say that last part
It'll be up
again.
to the hotel to regulate, and they're not, we'll guarantee them 270 spaces if they're available.
If available.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners on resolution 2623? If not, we'll open it for public comment.
May I correct something? The controller just was able to pull up the number of parking spaces. It was 350.
Thank you.
Thank you for that answer.
Well, with that answer, I got another question.
Yeah.
So how many spaces are allocated to the hotel if they purchase them?
I believe it's 170.
Okay, that's better.
Okay. So we've got that question clarified from commissioners. Anything else from commissioners? Otherwise, public comments available for 2623.
My name is Audrey Smith. As we discussed the parking situation for this hotel, I just want to speak to that more generally with hotels in the downtown area. And in regard to the proposals that we heard earlier for a new hotel. Parking is already on everybody's mind. This hotel that we're talking about right now is a little bit further from downtown. There's a little less competition. But I just want to read the locations of the hotels that we already have downtown, and then these two hotels that are under consideration, both at the College Square property and the Convention Center Hotel. So as you travel down College Avenue, we have a hotel at 9th Street. We have a hotel between 7th and 6th. We have a hotel between Kirkwood and 4th Street. That one's over by the B line. It's not visible from College. We are considering proposals for hotels between 4th Street and 3rd Street and right around where Smith Street is. And then we, of course, already have the hotel for the convention center that already exists. So how many hotels do we need? That's my question. And who are we making space for in downtown Bloomington? Thank you.
Any other public comment, either online or in person? If not, I will take a motion from commissioners on resolution 2623.
I'll move approval of Resolution 2623.
Second.
We've got a first and a second. We'll take a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
Sue Scambaluri, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously for resolution 2623. The next item on our agenda, we've got 3 resolutions I'm going to invite the commissioners to consider collectively because they all are addressing amendments to 2025 CDBG physical improvement grants for respective agencies. Who would like to speak to that?
Matt Swinney with the Hand Department. We have 3 amendments that all are pretty much in the same boat here. rising costs caused a need for additional funding. For the 2025 Life Designs Amendment, originally it was $18,974.29. We're going to raise that to $22,000. That's to cover an increase in cost. For Middle Way House, the original amount was $9,418. We're going to raise that to $45,000. That project started out as just a replacement of the railing for the elevator to keep it in compliance. They since have a new maintenance contract with a new company who uncovered significant larger amount of repairs needed to the elevator and elevator shaft to keep it in compliance. So that's the reason for the increase there. Summit Hill Community Development Center originally had a grant amount of $136,103. We are going to increase that to $249,500. We have an additional larger scope now to include some ADA compliance and also connecting and incorporating the community garden that's already on site. Plus, once they got to the design stage with the playground, some additional things had to be taken into consideration, which drove the cost up. So I'd happily answer any questions on those.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Any questions or comments from commissioners on these three resolutions? And if there's anything you'd like to separate, please let me know. Otherwise, the proposal is to vote on them collectively, as well as ask any questions about each of them in this comment period.
From a collective standpoint, Matt, the additional monies that are we have the adequate funds to take care of the increases?
Yes, sir.
Okay, without going over any budgetary or having to change funds?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll open it for public comment for these three resolutions, 2648, 2649, and 2650, either online or in person. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion for these three resolutions.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2648, 2649, and 2650 as presented.
Second.
We have a first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
Steve Scambaletti, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. The three motions pass unanimously. Excuse me, the three resolutions pass unanimously. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2651, which is approval of 2026 CDBG Physical Improvement Grant Agreement with My Sister's Closet. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, me again. This is the 2026 agreement. It's the first of our 2026 agreements. I wanted to go ahead and get this one ready to go because this project is waiting. They're ready to go as soon as we get our funding from HUD. And they purchased the building at 1204 West 2nd Street, and that's going to be their new location, and they're going to have all their services in a much larger, nicer building once they make all the renovations to it. It's going to be really great for them.
Thank you. We'll open for questions or comments from commissioners on Resolution 2651. Seeing any, we'll open it for public comment on Resolution 2651, either in person or online. Not seeing any, I will ask for a motion for 2651.
Move approval of Resolution 2651.
Second.
A first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
Steve Scambaletti, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously for Resolution 2651.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2652, which is addendum number 1 with Vet Environmental Engineering LLC for environmental services at College Square. Who would like to speak to that?
I think Dana and I will tag team this a bit, but I will start out with some framing. So this resolution is part of our due diligence efforts at College Square. Vet completed additional environmental investigations in coordination with Indiana Brownfields program. During that work, evidence of historic underground storage tanks was identified Before the property can move forward towards redevelopment, we need to determine whether those tanks remain, remove them if necessary, remediate any associated contamination, and obtain the documentation required to pursue environmental site closure. The resolution authorizes an addendum with VET Environmental Engineering for this investigation, remediation, regulatory coordination, and site closure in an amount not to exceed $156,755.25. Completing this work now will reduce redevelopment risk, protects the RDC's investment, and positions the property for appropriate future redevelopment.
And there's not much I can add to that. That was very good. And we already have a contract, so again, an addendum is the appropriate way to amend this. And as stated, we need to address what's going on there at College Square anyway. And so going ahead and taking those measures will only help the further steps that you take with that property.
Thank you. I'll ask for any questions or comments from commissioners on Resolution 2652. Yes.
I realize that the ship has sailed, but when this body, not us, but the RDC purchased this, was there not environmental studies done at that time?
There was.
Is there any record of environmental studies being done at that time?
There was studies done. There was things noted in those studies. The purchases went through. What was actually, I can't explain the decision-making process that happened at that time.
That was vague enough, thank you.
So just to clarify, we had one done, it didn't identify it, we found something now that needs to be cleaned up.
Well, there's been a number of studies done through the years, and some of the studies have revealed potential concerns. When VET came in, they did a comprehensive review of a number of reports that were done and identified areas of concern that they thought needed some additional work. They went out and looked at those under the first contract, found that yes, this is an area of concern. We need more information regarding, and it was directed by IDEM wanting that additional information. And so that's what led to these next steps. Again, what went into the decision-making before, I have no idea.
Just to be 100% clear, we're doing a time and material basis, not to exceed $156,755.25. This should clean everything up so we can move forward with this property to move on to the next the redevelopment phase of this property. Just want to clarify.
Yes,
we don't have any more things we have to concern with.
With all environmental projects, it's like an old house. Once you get into it, you're never sure what you might come into. So I don't think there's any guarantee. This is what, based on, they did do some investigation work. Right. And so it does appear that they did a good job with that work from what I've looked at. And so I'm not expecting anything additional, but there's no way I can stand here and guarantee you that something won't pop up. But this is, in all likelihood, this should solve it. But I can't guarantee it.
Given once this potentially is executed, do we have a time frame that will be dealt with?
They tentatively have this on the schedule for September to start work, which is the soonest available that they had. And I believe that the time is also ticking with IDEM and brownfields, just with that coordination. At this point, they've given directives of what needs to happen, and if we delay any further, they could reserve the right to review that and make a new finding. I don't know that would happen, but this would just resolve it succinctly.
Okay.
From the site work, it would appear that they could get the site work done within a couple months, a month or two. How long it would take to then put that through IDEM to have their review. Again, that we would have no control over that. It may be after the first of the year before we could get responses back from IDEM.
But realistically, this can start in September, be taken care of, and then we're into the state and the paperwork with a good potential possibility that by next spring or this time next year, we would be able to have a clear. And it's, I understand there's things we don't know.
There's a good potential for that to occur, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other questions or comments from commissioners, I'll open Resolution 2652 for public comment, either online or in person. Not seeing any, I will ask for a motion for Resolution 2652.
I'll make approval to approve Resolution 26-52 as presented.
Second.
Second.
We have first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
C. Scambolery, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously for Resolution 2652. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2653, which is amending the declaratory resolution at the Consolidated Economic Development Area and the Consolidated Economic Development Plan, removing certain residential parcels and regarding related matters. Who would like to speak to that?
Dana Kerr from Legal again, as well as Justin Chang from Reading. This is going to be following the process alongside Hopewell South. So this is the declaratory resolution, amending the declaratory resolution. So after tonight, this will also go to the Plan Commission with Hopewell South, then Common Council with Hopewell South, and then back and have a public hearing with the Redevelopment Commission and a confirmatory resolution, just like Hopewell South. It's going to be going along the same process at the same time. To let you know that. This one's a little different, and I'll again try to explain, and Justin can correct me when I say it wrong. So what this is there are a number of parcels of land that are in the consolidated TIF that are residential in nature. And the way the DLGF has been having the auditors run the software program to account for residential properties has changed based on their direction. And so now those parcels, while they were able to account for them before in the auditor's office to kind of balance their negative impact, what negative impact they would have out, they can no longer do that. So us, along with many other communities, RDCs are looking to pull out those residential parcels so that they won't have a negative impact on the revenues. Without doing this, next year's revenues could be affected by approximately $360,000 less by leaving these parcels in. So the purpose of this is to remove these truly residential parcels from the consolidated TIF to keep that reduction in overall revenues from happening. It has no impact on the residential properties. There are a few residential properties that we are leaving in because of, in the consolidated TIF, there's a few areas where there's little bottlenecks that connect the TIFs. And a few of those are residential properties, and we do not want to break the contiguity of the TIF and separate it. So we want to keep it together. So we're leaving a few parcels in, about a dozen, there's 12 of them. So we're leaving those in. They should have just 12 parcels, pretty minimal impact. But this is an effort that many RDCs, if they're not doing it, they should be doing it, of removing residential parcels from their regular commercial type TIFs to keep them from being counted against the revenues for the TIF. And
Thank you. Just to provide a little bit of elaboration on a few things that Dana mentioned. How this came about to be an issue is actually during the TIF neutralization process. Essentially, we work with the auditor on determining what assessed value growth is capturable from year to year. And in the neutralization form that we fill out, it tells us, so for this year, we just completed the forms for Bloomington. It says next year, let's just say, one of the Bloomington TIFs should receive $10 million in incremental AV. When we received the parcel list from the auditor's office, we noticed, instead of saying $10 million, we're seeing $7 million instead. And so we start to work with the auditor's office and the software providers to find out why, what caused this discrepancy. And from discussions with the software provider, so Monroe County uses LAO. They told us that there was a sort of a change in how they handle residentials based on what the DLGF is telling them. Essentially, before, residential parcels didn't affect the TIFs at all. It didn't benefit them. It didn't really hurt them. Now they can only hurt commercial TIFs, which is why it's important to pull those out of the consolidated TIF. And Dana mentioned is about a $360,000 savings we could save in 2027 if we do this now. Unfortunately, this actually did happen last year. So this year, if we're looking at TIF revenues, our TIF revenues are actually already about $300,000 lower than what it should have been if we were to cut it earlier. That is to say, we couldn't have done it, cut it earlier than we already did, just because it has to come after the neutralization and CNAP process. But this $360,000 impact will continue to happen each and every single year if we don't remove them from the TIF allocation areas.
Thank you for the presentation on Resolution 2653. I'll open it for questions or comments from commissioners.
This only has to do with, we missed it last year, but it's due to the state law change from Department of Local Government Finance.
It's not a legislation change, just the DLGF did not think the software was handling it correctly. But it's not a legislation change, that is to say. That also is not really something the county auditor can control either. It's just how the software is do the math when you input the neutralization factors and get the assessed values for the next year.
And by removing these, this clears it up. We don't have a software issue and we don't have a monetary loss.
Correct. And there's no impact on the taxpayers. Their tax bill will not change because of this, their TIF removal.
Other questions from commissioners? I have two questions. One is just administrative. In the packet, there's an attachment A for a map, but there's no map. Is that intentional, or what's just help me understand that? Because I can see all the parcel numbers, but I'm curious about the geographic locations of what this is, and the map's not there.
Yes, Mr. Cassidy asked me about that earlier today. This is the declaratory resolution. We can, without slowing down the process, because we need to get this going because of when they do the calculations, we can amend that, and I am working with GIS in Bloomington, the Bloomington GIS, to create a map for you that will show you exactly which parcels these are, so that you can see them on a map. And then it's also going to show which parcels that we are going ahead and leaving in to make sure the contiguity matches up as well. So that map is in preparation. It's just not quite finished up yet, but the parcel list includes the parcels for identification purposes.
Thanks. So when would the map be available to the public if they wanted to see it, since it's not in our packet?
Yes, as soon as the map is available, and we're getting close to having it done. I will stick it with the resolution and make sure that it is part of the packet and so that it is available for viewing.
Okay, thank you.
It's kind of hard because they're little bitty parcels and it's the big city map of the whole area.
Might be more than one map.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out a way to make it so that it's readable. And so that's what's kind of hard about it. On GIS, it's easy because you can zoom in and out, but to put it in a format where, you can have a static copy is hard, and that's what we're working on. But the parcel list is again, the identification part.
Okay. My other question was just, is there any possibility or opportunity for an appeal for fiscal year 26, just given that this wasn't a legislative change? It was something that was simply delivered via software in terms of that shift? In terms of just the lost revenue, that was not really any intentional thing. It was just kind of how things turned out based on the change in software.
As an appeal with the county auditor, see if we can get those TIF revenues. Unfortunately, it's very we don't think it's possible just because, so when certifications go out, the way that assessed values work, there's underlying units that are in play, levies and tax rates are in play based on these assessed values. So we can't go after abstract comes out and say we want these dollars back. So unfortunately, no, but that's also why it's important to take that step now to make sure we can fix it for page 2027. Actually, we already notified the county auditor of this happening so they can sort of be ready for when we do remove these parcels to make sure it doesn't affect their certified assessed values.
Okay, thank you very much. So no other questions or comments from commissioners. I'll open it for public comment in person or online. Not seeing any, I will open it for a motion on resolution 2653.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2653 as presented.
Second.
We've got a first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
C. Scambolery, yes.
John West, yes.
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Motion passes unanimously for resolution 2653. The last item of new business on our agenda is resolution 2654, approval of a lease at the Forge with Prometheus Energetics LLC. Who would like to speak to that?
Good evening. John Fernandez from Amplify Bloomington. Let me pull this up here real quick. Hopefully the memo I sent was straightforward and clear enough on what's happening here, but just to recap for the public, last December, December 15th, the RDC approved a lease with Prometheus Energetics for 2,400 square feet in the Forge. That lease included a right of first refusal to expand and take the remaining 1,800 square feet on that first floor of the building. They have expressed the interest of doing that and taking the additional 1,800 feet. When we looked at the way to approach this, it made more sense to us to, instead of doing a new lease for what's considered Unit 101, we would just, or Unit 100, that front piece, we would just replace that lease with a new lease that covers all 4,200 square feet. All the terms for the lease are the same as the December 25th lease in terms of the rate, the monthly rate, the CAMs, all that. It also is the same term, the 3 years with 2 or 3 additional rights to extend on an annual basis. The tenant improvement allowance is the same as it's been for the other 2,400 square feet. The way it's set up is that once this is executed and approved by the Redevelopment Commission, the commencement date for the lease would be either make sure I get this right, 150 days after execution or completion of the new tenant improvements, whichever comes first. And what that'll do is that it resets that 3-year period for the entire 4,200 square feet based on that date. So it kind of buys some additional time. But that's really the long and short of it. And I'd love to get the Redevelopment Commission's approval for this new lease.
Great, thank you for your presentation. We have any questions or comments from commissioners on Resolution 2654?
So, John, while we are waiting for the leasehold improvements for the new space, new collected space, are they still paying rent
Yes,
on
I'm sorry.
Suite 100?
Yeah, they're continuing to pay their lease, the original lease, and then the new total amount will kick in with the commencement date of this lease. But in the interim, they're continuing to pay the rent that they're paying right now. And I should note while we're at it that with this lease, if it's approved, we'll be at 100% occupancy, so.
Cool.
So we need you to build another building. No, just kidding.
Be rough. Yeah. And the mill's
That's
paying
for John's benefit.
There you go. Yeah. And the mill's paying for that, your fund's paying for it. It's not coming out of redevelopment.
Pardon me?
Your fund is paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're good. Okay. And just comment, Prometheus is a great up-and-coming entity in our community. It's grateful to have them.
Yeah, they're going to, for what it's worth, let me pull it up here. They currently, their plan was to hire about 13 people right now for the 2,400 square feet. That's been moving very quickly as they've brought a lot of people into our community from other parts of Indiana, but also from out of state, which is really nice from an economic development perspective. Over the next 6 months, they plan to add another 20.
Great.
And their current compensation is it's higher than it's going to be, but it's, for the entire building right now, our average wages are $136,000 a year. So it's doing what you all had hoped for.
Appreciate it.
Okay. If there's no other questions or comments from commissioners, I'll open it for public comment. Not saying anything in person or online, I will ask for a motion for Resolution 2654.
Move approval of Resolution 2654.
Second.
We've got a first and a second. We'll do a vote by roll call, please.
Lori McRobbie, yes.
Sue Scanbaletti, yes.
John West, yes?
Randy Cassidy, yes.
Deborah Meyerson, yes. Resolution 2654 passes unanimously. Thank you.
Great, thank you all.
That is the last item of new business on our agenda this evening. May we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you all this evening.
Thank you.